I ain't the plug, I'm connected to the socket. Already paid dues, I'm forever paying homage.
It is Playbook in One Stop, episode 7. It's been a lot going on this week. All right, we not gonna dive into the LeBron James, Stephen A. Smith conversation too much, but we are gonna talk about some of the comments that LeBron made earlier in the week. I have a lot to say about that topic of conversation. He said a few things about Giannis Antetokounmpo, the 1970s, but it's really a general idea in sports about how today's players view old school players and old school views today's game in any sport. Football, baseball, basketball, doesn't matter. All right, it's a general idea. But we're going to talk about the NCAA tournament. All right, now I made a post earlier talking about how, to my knowledge, when I went to bed last night, right, I thought I was going to sleep comfortably knowing that Arkansas was going to get the dub versus Texas Tech. I woke up, I went to work. I didn't even realize they lost that game. It was like 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock this morning, I'm walking past the TV, and they talking about John Calipari's overall career in the NCAA because he lost another one last night. I got to ask you, all right? When you think about the NCAA, John Calipari, Rick Pitino, Tom Izzo, Coach K, Roy Williams, Dean Smith, Bobby Knight, Bill Self, all these great NCAA coaches, right? Do you think that it's starting to lean to the point where the players are more important than the actual coaches? Or do you still think NCAA sports is about coaching?
I think NCAA is still definitely about coaching. Maybe maybe when you get to the NBA, you could say that the players have definitely kind of taken over when it comes to the team aspect. But in NCAA, I feel like it's still coaching. I feel like it's still coaching because the guys are younger. They're more impressionable. They're more yeah, they're less professional as well. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they're kind of more so at the mercy of coaches than some of these NBA superstars are.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, for me, it's difficult. It's difficult to make that snap judgment and say, nah, it's moving over. It's the players' era now. Okay? Because if you look at NCAA sports, obviously NIL is a big deal. You can have the best recruiting class, number 1 ranked going into the season, and come March, you could still be in trouble and get sent home in the round of 32. You know what I'm saying? You can have the most talented team and have a sorry coach and get sent home. Or you can have, a great coach, don't have all the pieces that maybe a team like, let's say, an older team like Kentucky, when they had John Wall and Boogie Cousins and Eric Bledsoe. You know what I'm saying? So you can have one of those situations where, all right, you got all the talent and you got the coach and you still don't get a national championship. Or you could be a Tom Izzo with Michigan State right now, even talent across the board. You don't have one guy that's dominating like a Cooper Flag and Duke. You don't have, 2 guys and everybody else get out of the way like a St. John's and Jameer Nelson and Delonte West used to. You don't have that. Even across the board, ton of talent, and you still have that great coach, and now you in an Elite 8. But the flip side of that is that NIL. NIL is going to make you or break you now, because I think it was like a record. I just seen it the other day. 2024, it was like a couple hundred kids was in the transfer portal on the first day. Now I think it was like 1,700. Shout out to Sterl in the chat. But now it's like 1,700 kids. Day one of the day one of the transfer portal being opened up. All these kids are switching schools. All these kids are switching teams. So now versus going to a high school game, meeting with high school coaches, meeting with 5-star recruits, You're trying to look in the portal and see, all right, which pieces can I build my team around? If you look at NCAA football, Deion Sanders, the past, year and a half, has built his team almost entirely out of the transfer portal. That seems like it's going to be the new wave. Is NIL going to ruin the college game, in your opinion? Like, for me, it's like, all right, let's pay these kids because we using they name, image, and likeness anyways. You see jerseys, you see sales, sweatshirts, merchandise, all this other stuff. Pay the kids. You're going to put them in the video game, pay the kids. I'm glad NCAA football, they came back. They said, you know what? Instead of giving the kids $500 to be in NCAA football, we're going to give them $2,000 now. So that's a big $1,500 jump. That's cool. I'm cool with that. I like to see that. But you can't think that ultimately coaching won't matter, development won't matter, fit team and program won't matter, all these things. So, do you think NIL is going to ruin the college game, football included? Because I know that's your sport.
No, I would say it might have more of an effect, probably a negative effect on football than it would basketball. But to say ruin, no. But the reason why I said what I said about both of the sports is because like basketball, it's just always easier, like as a coach, to manage the egos on a basketball team because it's not that many. Like you got like a 12 to 15 man roster. You probably got like two guys that's like really, really like that pushing the envelope. Like when it comes to anything like ego driven when it that you could have out of a player. But like on the football side, you could have like a roster of 54. Like you got like 20 studs. You got like, you feel me? You coaching like a Alabama or something like that. You got 15 guys about to go first round. Like so in that aspect, yeah, NIL might it might it might it might it might make football for an athlete that young, it might make it like a little bit more egomaniacal for them. But I don't know if it will ruin it. I don't know if it will ruin it. In a lot of ways, it makes it a lot better. It makes it a lot better because these guys are stars, and now they get to really be stars, and they get to pop out, and they get to show like some of their other sides. These guys got creative sides, whatever the case may be, and it really teaches them the business at a young age. And I think that's what a lot of these guys from the inner city need, is like to really, really learn the business coming up, because that's what it is. Like at the end of the day, like
I'll push back on one aspect. Like managing personalities and egos of some players on the basketball court, it's not all that easy. It's not all that easy because coaches are in an interesting spot for basketball, because you get that one talented player, ego, carry it with them like a backpack, right? Don't have a problem with it. I encourage it. All right, I encourage that. But one thing I say is this: on the football field, you can have a great player do something stupid. You can pull them because I got another guy I'm gonna put in for a couple plays. We're gonna have a conversation.
right,
He might go back in the game. He might not. But it's 11 players on the field, right? If I'm a basketball coach and all I got is that one player, I can't take him out of the game.
yeah, you can't take them out.
We can't have this conversation until halftime, the end of the game, or tomorrow, because if we lose, he's gonna be the first one out of the locker room. That's just the way it is. There was a kid, I was talking to another coach, transferred from our school to a crosstown rival. Not gonna say who it was. And he was like, man, I didn't know his attitude was like that. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, he found out he wasn't starting the first game of the season. They're about to jump the ball. He stood up and walked off the bench and went to the locker room. Coach had to go get him. Like, but I mean, what do you mean you had to go get him? If he walk off the bench, just let him go. He's like, we ain't won a game all year. There was no way I was letting that boy walk out of the gym. I had to go get him, bring him back. He had to check him in. Kid had to start. Like, if you don't have a talent as a basketball coach, a lot of these players is getting away with stuff. They got a lot longer leash. Now, like I said, halftime after the game or tomorrow at practice, I can do that because guess what? If it's tomorrow, you let me think about this for 24 hours and you let all this steam build up. All right, now it's gonna be even worse once we gotta have that conversation tomorrow. So I don't have a problem with dealing with it, as myself. But a lot of kids, man, on the basketball court in this day and age, the way the game is played, they get away with a lot more. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, football too, but I get what you're saying. Football is more of a next man up type sport.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah. Like
deeper roster.
I don't think it's gonna ruin the college game, though, man. I honestly don't, because it's the same conversation that you have, outside of sports in the business world and life in general. The more money I give you, it's gonna tell me a lot more about who you are. So then you got to get into the mind of these players. Like, look, all right, cool, NIL, I give you the bag, but keep in mind, you act a fool with this bag. Once you go and talk to these scouts for the NBA, and they see how you act with this little bag, they not gonna draft you, bro. They're not drafting you. This is an audition of the highest order, because before it was just about your game. It was just about your classroom. It was about the attitude with your teammates. Now you bring into the fact that this bag is gonna reveal your character, who you really are on and off the court. Okay, all right, you can have the $2 million. Act any way you want to. You will never see a lottery. You'll never see the lottery pick. So I don't think it's going ruin the college game. I think it's actually going to help the draft process be even clearer. Because name top 5 kids going into the NBA draft right now.
You got
Go ahead and say Cooper Flag, and then we can stop the conversation right there.
I was about to say Cooper Flag.
They're not talking about nobody else. Why? Because after we get through, all right, NCAA tournament is over. We know everybody got a bag. Now we got to talk to people. Now we got to talk about, all right, what was his attitude with his teammates? What was he doing in the locker room after the game? What was he doing off the court in his spare time? Now we're going to talk to, the coach. Hey, how was he, running plays and all this, and on the basketball court and practice and all these other things? All these things are not done playing out. Cooper Flag is the only one with a solidified spot in the NBA draft. He's the only one. Outside of that, the jury is still out because there's so much added pressure and added information into the mix with the NIL going on. So I think Cooper Flag is the only one that is guaranteed top of the draft. But the question is Cooper Flag NBA ready? The boy had 30 last night.
I was about to
The boy had 30 last night.
30 and 7.
I'll make this comparison.
30 and 7.
You a fan?
I think he had 6 rebounds.
I'm a fan, and I'm pretty sure, as far as favorite players to watch goes, he and both for our top 5. This is not disrespect to this individual. All right, this is actually just talking about the college game. I don't think I've seen a player that made the game look this easy since Kevin Durant when he was at Texas. I don't think I've seen anybody make it look this easy, like offensively. And you know what his competition is like in the summer. I mean, the boy was just on a U.S. select team. He was being guarded by Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, going toe to toe with them, feeding them buckets. So it's like, all right, he's comfortable. He knows how to slow the game down. He knows how to put the ball in the hole. He plays both sides of the ball. Energy, effort, all those things that you want from a player.
Both sides.
He bring everything to the table. But do you think, as easy as he makes it look in the college game, is that going to transfer right away?
Nah, it never does. Unless you like a generational talent, which that's not really what I'm seeing when it comes to Cooper Flag. But he is he's a guy that I think he's gonna come in. He's gonna definitely make an NBA roster better but he's not like the game changer, for a franchise. I don't think he's that, but he's definitely going to come in and um he's going to be able to play a pivotal role and make an NBA roster better. He
Mm.
that good, definitely. He's definitely that good.
Okay, let's talk about this. All right, Cooper Flag, #1 draft pick. I'm looking at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. I see right away Washington Wizards. I would hate to be drafted by Washington right now. They have no sense of direction. They don't have any pieces to build around them. They don't have anything that gives me hope that this team is going to be turned around with somebody like Cooper Flag.
I would hate
no
to
matter
see
how
him there,
talented
too.
he is.
Yeah, I hate for him to be drafted there.
Sterling said people forget how good Mason Plumlee was at Duke. He was good, all right? But I'm talking about, and you know what? Not even just Mason, Miles, when they both played together at Duke. Great front court.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about a dude that just make it look easy in Cooper Flag. Like Zion, he was a bulldozer, in China shop, bully people, run you over, that type of basketball. Cooper just smooth with it. Just make it look so easy, simplified game. That's the only reason why I compare him directly to KD. But like I said, Washington, don't want to see him go there. Hornets, I already gave you the breakdown on them. You got LaMelo Ball, you got Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, Mark Williams. You got a lot of pieces to work with. That would be a decent fit, but they not winning no games because they ain't got a good coach. Brooklyn, stay away from Brooklyn. Stay away from Philly too. You got Embiid, you got Maxey, you got Paul George, Cooper Flag. I mean, he gonna be out there playing. He probably gonna be playing alone. It's gonna be him and Quentin Grimes because everybody else on that team is always injured. So don't go to Philly. Look at the Western Conference. You got the Utah Jazz. Do I want to see him next to Larry Markkinen? I don't want to see anybody in Utah. Pelicans, who knows? They just gave up Brandon Ingram for a bag of chips. Nobody has a sense of direction in that organization. Never have. There's two teams, one in the East, one in the West. Eastern Conference, look at the Toronto Raptors. All right, you got RJ Barrett, big guard. You got Scotty Barnes, and you just got Brandon Ingram. You add in Cooper Flag to that. Only problem I see with them is who's going to distribute the ball. You don't have a true PG. Quickly on that team, he looking to get his own shot. He looking to get his own 15 to 20 every single night. So it's going to be what? 4 or 5 guys whose only objective is to score the basketball for themselves. It's not going to work. You look out west. It's far-fetched. All right, they're 31-41. They're not as bad as they need to be to get Cooper Flag. Everybody in the NBA better pray that the San Antonio Spurs do not get the #1 draft pick. Hope and pray. Wemby is a center, all right? He's the 5. Cooper Flag at the 4. De'Aaron Fox is the PG. You got Castle coming off the bench, probably. You got Vassell. You got Keldon Johnson. You got Sochan. They have every single tool that you could possibly need if you add in Cooper Flag to say, you know what? We could have an OKC type run.
We could
have a
OKC
Houston
type run.
Rockets. We could have a Denver Nuggets. We could be in the top 4, top 5 teams in the Western Conference. NBA about to cook it up. He about to be a Spur. That's what Sterling said. I agree with it. Because at some point, somebody going to be pulling the string somewhere, right? Those ping pong balls, they don't just bounce on their own. They got a little bit of weight to them. All right, so we're going to see which way they bounce. We're going to see. He gonna end up in somewhere nice. Somewhere nice and somewhere scary.
I agree.
Somewhere very scary. And you know what's crazy, though? I'm looking at the Lakers. They don't scare me at all. Denver Nuggets right now, with the way Jamal Murray been playing as of late, they don't scare me. The Houston Rockets, they don't scare me. So if I'm San Antonio, I get Cooper Flag. I'm looking at the top of the West and saying, you know what? All we got to do is just get into the playoffs. Once we get into the playoffs, we a bad matchup for anybody. We will give anybody problems with the lineup I just mentioned. So I like the odds of Cooper going to I like the picture of Cooper going to San Antonio, but I don't like the odds. Actually, one quick thing I want to talk about before we move on, because we're gonna talk about one last thing. Starting 5 college basketball lineup of all time. All right, we're gonna talk about it in just a minute, but the Memphis Grizzlies fired their coach today. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
They number 5 out west, and they fired their coach.
I didn't see that. What the?
Bro, it's March 28th. The playoffs start in 2 weeks. They got like 8 or 9 more games in the season, and you fire your coach right before you go into the playoffs. Your matchup is the LA Lakers. You're matched up with the LA Lakers. You could be matched up with the Denver Nuggets. Actually, that's it. Really, honestly, because I don't think the Rockets have that much, pressure going down the stretch. So you got the Denver Nuggets or the LA Lakers, and you fire your coach before you have that matchup in just 2 weeks. That's idiotic. Idiotic. There's no sense in that at all. John Morant, Desmond Bane, Zach Edey, Triple J, Kennard. They got some nice pieces. Why not do that at the end of the season? Why not just wait? All right, first round knockout. Whoop. All right, here you go. Like this, the NBA don't make sense to me. It doesn't. Somebody else is on talking about being on the chopping block too. I think the Timberwolves coach, but they 41-32 and they in the 8th seed, so I can see that. But firing your coach 2 weeks before the playoffs and you a 5th seed, that's diabolical. That's crazy work.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. But like I said, starting 5 all-time college lineup. All right. Starting 5 all-time college lineup. You want to go first or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right. Now, I think we gotta take some time with this. All right, we gotta let it marinate because we gotta talk about what style of play we want to play, what type of offense we gonna run, and I'll even throw in who do I want to be the coach of my team. Let's throw that in at the end of this. I want to start at the point guard spot. Now, the point guard spot in college is kind of like, it's similar debate because I can go with the chef from Davidson. Crazy range, right? He can heat up quick. Or I can go with the dude from from Michigan State. Right? Top 2 point guards of all time. Or I can go with the young boy from Duke. Played 8 to 11 games. But whether it's in a Duke jersey, a Cleveland Cavalier jersey, a Brooklyn jersey, a Dallas Mavericks jersey, Kyrie Irving is still unstoppable with the ball in his hands. But like I said, it all depends on what style I want to play. But you know what? Hey, Michigan State, let's keep it there. I got Magic at the 1.
I like that.
Who you got?
I got Magic. I'm going with Magic.
I got Magic. Magic on my team. You can't have Magic.
Oh, okay, we doing a draft.
Yeah, Magic on my team.
We doing a draft. Okay, well that's cool. So if you got Magic, then that means I gotta go. Damn, I should have picked first. That means I gotta go. If you got Magic. The I could go the young boy from Davidson too, but I want to get a little bit creative, man. I want to get a little bit creative. You know what? Yeah, I'm alive. I'm gonna go chef.
All right.
I'm gonna go chef. I want to see who you.
So
I want to see who
so
you.
far, I got Magic. RJ
I want
got
to see
Steph
who
at
you
the
pick at
one.
the two.
Now, if I know anything, and you know what's crazy is, this is why you got to stop spending so much time talking to certain people, being around certain people. All right, we talk every day, half the day in the group chat, right? In our group chat, me, you, Sterling, we talk, pretty much all day.
Pretty much the whole day.
Sterling called out my next pick. I was gonna draft my center. If you
Dog.
got Magic Johnson,
Blue Wild Cinder, bro.
why would you not pair him up with a dude that he won 5 championships with? I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at my 5.
That's cool because you know what? I got the most dominant center of all time in my 5. Shaquille O'Neal.
Ooh. Okay.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay.
LSU.
Shaq was a demon in college. Shaq was a demon in college. All right, you know what? And this is where creativity comes in.
You can't be giving out picks, bro. He took Lou Alcindor from me.
My point guard is 6'9". So you know what? I want to make sure we can balance. We can have size, scoring ability to handle, right? So why not, instead of drafting him at the 4 spot, drafting him at the 3 spot? Why don't I make my 7-footer a 2 guard and draft Kevin Durant to put in the backcourt with Magic Johnson?
He drafted Kevin Durant, bro.
At the 2 spot.
Why you keep taking my players though?
Ooh.
That's cool though. What?
I'm gonna put KD at the 3.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. I was
I'm
gonna put KD at the 3. Go ahead, but it's cool because at the 2, it's real tough because it's a lot of like different areas you can go in. It's a lot of different guys you can do with that 2 guard, and then it's like the top two guards of all time. One of them didn't go to college, and the other one wasn't really, like we found out who he was like when he was on his way out, Michael Jordan. So for my 2 guard, I'm gonna go out there to Marquette.
Oh,
I'm gonna go out there to Marquette, man, and I'm gonna grab Flash.
you know it's crazy, bro.
I'm grabbing that young boy.
You bastard. That's exactly why I put KD back at the 3.
And look, you got a point with somebody in your backcourt winning 5 championships with Lou Alcindor. Why do I not pair Shaq and D Wade up?
That's tough. That's tough. D Wade out there getting triple doubles, man. That's tough.
Man, what?
All right.
One of the most dominant
Okay, you know what?
Seen.
You know what? Okay. Go ahead now.
You killed me with KD,
I'm gonna put
though.
KD back at the 2. I'm gonna put KD back at the 2. And at the 4 spot, I'm gonna keep it right in Michigan. Literally, Michigan. Give me Chris Webber at the 4.
Ah, man, you going?
Give me Chris Webber at the 4.
He's a. Look at Sterling comment. Look at his comment.
Oh, UCal raised me.
Oh man, that's hilarious, dog.
All
All
right,
right,
so
my
so
next
far,
pick.
so far, I got Magic at the 1, KD at the 2, C Webb at the 4, Kareem at the 5. RJ got Stephen Curry at the 1, D Wade at the 2, and Shaq at the 5. Who your next pick?
All right, so my next pick is my small forward, the 3. It would have been KD,
I already know where you're
but
going with this.
I'm gonna go out to the Mecca for the guy who I think is the second greatest pure scorer that I've ever seen. I'm gonna go out to the Mecca and I'm gonna draft Carmelo Anthony, man.
Melo was gonna be my 3. Took 2 of my picks. That's tough. Now we got to think.
Melo.
Now we got to think. Man, it's been a lot of tough college players. I mean,
you better
shout out-
go get him.
Shout out to Glenn Big Dog Robinson. Shout out to him. Off the top of my head, that's the first 3 that comes to mind. James Worthy, he was a dog in college. He was a dog in college, right? Larry Bird, he was a dog in college, went crazy. Obviously, I picked KD, you picked Carmelo Anthony. I got a shooter. I got a passer. I got a post presence. I got a point guard. He's going to push the break. And remember, this is the college game. All right, this is the college game. I need somebody that I can pass the ball to on the wing, on a fast break, especially if I got Magic Johnson, right? Whether it's a lob, bounce pass, and I need a guarantee that nobody is going to jump with this person. I need a guarantee, right? Because if LeBron played in college basketball, I pick LeBron, right? So in college basketball, I'm going to probably go with somebody with a similar stature. So at the 1, I got Magic. At the 2, I got KD. 4, I got Chris Webber. 5, I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And at the 3 spot, I'm going to go with Zion Williams.
That's nice.
I need a bull in the china shop.
That's nice.
That
All right,
D-Wade
the
pick kind of
4.
made me mad. I'm not going to lie. That
So look,
kinda
I
made
got
me
my
mad.
4. I got my 4 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got my 4. Now it's a couple different ways that I was gonna do this, man. A couple
Sterl
different
said
ways,
nobody picked
like-
up Jay Williams. It's tough because,
Yeah.
like I said, Magic and Steph in college, and I honorable mention based on the style of play. I'll throw Kemba and Jimmy Fredette in there. But Jay Will one of them ones. People see him, talking about a microphone on College Game Day. Jay Williams was an animal.
Mhm. So it's a couple of different ways that I could go about this. Like, a couple guys came to mind: Larry Bird, Larry Johnson,
Dog, UNLV.
Dog.
Mm-hmm. Grandmama. Young folk don't know about that.
Definitely don't. They don't know about no Larry Johnson. Freaking that Mr. Fundamental from Wake Forest, Tim Duncan. It was hard not to pick Tim Duncan because
Tim Duncan don't want no smoke with Chris Webber in college.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing. But this guy that I'm about to pick, he does. And I don't think Chris Webber definitely don't want no smoke with him. I'm going Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis
Anthony
in college?
Davis. Anthony Davis.
You gonna have him all right.
Anthony Davis. What you mean? You said Anthony Davis in college, like Anthony Davis wasn't. Come on, man.
Anthony Davis matched up with Chris Webber. Listen. I hate every single Michigan Wolverines team that has ever existed on this planet, except for the Fat Five. Chris Webber was like that. Everybody make their little, I make my little jokey jokes about the timeout. Chris Webber was that dude.
You gotta tell me who the coach gonna be.
Huh?
You gotta tell me who the coach gonna be.
Oh, greatest coach of all time in college basketball history. Come on now. Coach K.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you got Coach K and C Webb.
Come on now.
That's crazy work.
Come on now.
But Chris Webber still got to guard Anthony Davis. He can't guard Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis in college. AD ain't had no jumper.
Yeah, in college.
He ain't had no jumper.
AD did have a jumper
long.
in college.
He had a midi, but it ain't consistent.
AD hit a game winner, a couple game winners in college.
All right. I ain't got no cookies for him.
And he was bumming.
I ain't got no cookies.
And he was 7-footer.
He not messing. You know what?
Still the defender that he is today.
He not messing with C Webb. All right. Now
Elite.
look, you got an argument to be made about having
his
Shaq.
athleticism not where C Webb was.
A little bit of analysis.
Say,
all right. Anthony Davis and Shaq with high-low action, scary work. And looking at this, D-Wade would probably had a ball. Melo setting screens
and then you got
for Steph coming off,
screens,
and then Melo would probably do a mid-range pop, and then you got D-Wade doing what he would do. I respect that.
Offensive rebounding is our second chance points. Come on, man.
Hey, you got a nice team. I'm not gonna hold you up. You got a nice team. Cause like when my team beat your team, it's gonna be on our resume. So people gonna have to respect it, right? People gonna have to respect it. You didn't even name your coach. Who's your coach gonna be?
I ain't name. I'm about to say you ain't even.
Who your coach? You wasted time.
You took away
The
Coach
greatest.
K for me.
The greatest.
Yeah, you took away that guy. So I gotta go with Mr. One and Done. He ain't never been nowhere and didn't win. John Calipari.
Oh, that's an easy dub. We won. Don't.
John Calipari, he know how to manage egos.
Hey, shout out to KJ. That's a dub.
He know how to manage egos.
You made that easy.
He know how to. You feel me?
Yeah.
He ain't no Coach K, but hey.
That's a dub. Like I don't understand. I don't understand why we still talking about this. We can move on to the next topic. As soon as you said that, I was comfortable in my decisions.
We got to do like some type of simulation or something.
Oh, y'all gonna be. It's gonna be a tight game. It's gonna be a tight game, and then it's gonna come down to a few key moments. I'll say 5 minutes left or something like that. Coach Cal is gonna see the same action.
It's gonna come down to my best player against your best.
No. Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. But Coach Cal is gonna see the same sets that we run about 6 or 7 times, and he's never gonna make the adjustment, especially in the second half. He's never gonna make a single adjustment in the second half, and we're gonna win the game. We're probably gonna win the game by like 12, because once we go up like 5 or 6.
No, bro.
We're gonna go up 5 or 6. All right. We're gonna go up 5 or 6. We're going to foul Shaq. He going to miss 2 free throws. We get the rebound. And then y'all going to play the foul game. Because like I said, Coach Kyle is not going to make a single adjustment.
Let's go to the next topic. Let's go to the next topic. My boy's only down 1 at halftime, too.
Shout out to KJ. He said, why I kick him when he was down yesterday after the game, earlier today after the game.
My boy's still in it, man.
What's the score on that NCAA game?
30-29 Arbor.
Oh, that ain't bad. Now,
man, we gonna win.
We gotta switch over to the NBA real quick, because LeBron James, aside from a number of things that he's been in the media for, been discussing in the media, he made some interesting comments. He said that Giannis Antetokounmpo would put up 250 points in the 70s. Now, he also gave respect to the old school players. They was great for their time, but he said Giannis would dominate. Do you think it's too much of a conversation being had about, my era would kill your era will beat my era. Today's game is trash, and old school players, they couldn't hoop with us. You can pick LeBron up, drop him in the 70s. He averaging. Is it too much of that going on for the NBA? Actually, you know what? Not even just the NBA, because Asante Samuel and Deion Sanders had it back and forth. So it happens in every sport. Do you think it's just too much about my era is so much better than today's game? Is it too much of that?
Yeah, but at the same time, like you got to think these is competitive guys. Like some of the greatest competitors in the history of sports.
Yeah.
So you gotta expect that from them. You gotta expect like competitive atmosphere, them
Mhm.
wanting to put their era against the other eras. And it's always been like that, especially in, urban communities or within
Barbershop
anything that's
conversation.
a barbershop conversation for sure. So it's not really too much, but I think that as far as like I think people need to put a little bit more respect on each other's era.
Hmm.
That's about it. Like
Hmm.
I do to a point agree with what LeBron is saying, because I think guys that are built like Giannis and are still as they're built like Giannis, but they're still as athletic. They would go back in some of those eras and dominate, because you got to look at guys like who were like that from those eras, like those guys who had that type of size and athleticism, like a Wilt Chamberlain or a Bill Russell or a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like these guys all dominated that era that we're speaking about.
Hmm.
So why wouldn't Giannis go back and do it? Why wouldn't he do it when you know, he kind of mirrors exactly what they were in that era in this one. Like I don't, so.
I think.
But as far as like people saying like, um, stop talking about the '90s and all of that, I don't agree with none of that.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
agree with none of that.
I say it like this. All right. I think, first of all, if you take any player that is great in any era, you can put them in any era. Greatness is
Hmm.
not just I was great in this 15-year span and that's the only era I'd be great in. I don't believe that. I think you can take Tim Duncan, put him in the 90s, and he'd be great. I think you can take
Hmm.
Karl Malone, bring him in today's game. Charles Barkley, bring him in today's game. Take Giannis, LeBron, James Harden. They'll be great in the 90s because these are great players. Greatness is not just about, these are the circumstances that were presented to me that allowed me to be great. Greatness is I'm going to do what I do best, regardless of who's in front of me, regardless of the era, and I'm going to find a way to be successful night in and night out. This is my skill set. This is what I know you're weak at. I'm going to continuously, relentlessly attack that. That's greatness. All right.
Hmm.
Every single night, this is what I'm going to do. All right. No matter who's in front of me, no matter who I got on my team, I'm going to do what I need to do and put us in a situation to be successful. I think you can drop any player in any era, they'd still be great. Problem is, when you have an analysis to be made, all right, if you have an hypothesis, you have to have variables that are the same when you're making these type of conversations that people don't really take into consideration. All right. So when I say I'm going to take a player from today's game, drop them in the 70s, like LeBron said, and they're going to dominate. Okay, the conversation needs to be had also. Are we allowing Giannis to play in his freak Nikes, or are we going to put him in Chuck Taylor's?
Yeah,
Is
that's
Giannis
what.
going to be allowed to have his compression pants in his sleeve, or is he just going to go out there shorts, jersey, socks, Converse, and a is that how we doing it? Are we going to have his nutritionist? Are we going to have team doctors? Are we going to have the shooting coach, the handles coach? Are we going to have all those things? What are the variables we're adding to make sure the playing field is even keel so we can see, okay, the greatness is still going to be there? Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
You take a player from back in the day, if you take a Pistol Pete, right? Pistol Pete, look at his college game. The boy averaged 40 plus without a 3-point line. They said he made, based on where he was shooting from, around 5 or 6 3-pointers a game, but he already averaged 44. The man averaged 50. All right. One of the best ball handlers, one of the best passers you'll ever see. The man had handles. He was doing Euro steps. They was calling him for travels, but he was one of the first dudes that was doing a Euro step back in the 60s and 70s, right? So if you take him and you give him in today's game, you give him Nike Zooms and you give him a nutritionist. You show him the importance of exercise science and lifting weights, watching film. You show him all these different aspects and you upgrade him to today's game with the medicine and stuff like that. Because guess what? Back then, you tore an ACL, you tore your Achilles.
You're done.
That's your career. You working at the grocery store or something. You're going to be doing broadcast. You're a coach now. You're not an NBA player no more. Your career is done. Today's game, Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. All right, we'll see him next season. Klay Thompson, ACL and your Achilles. All right, 2 seasons and he came back. Still got a $20 million contract. Like that didn't happen back then. So when you say you're going to take a player from today's game and put them in the 70s, they're going to be just fine. LeBron James spends $1 million a year for the entirety of his career on maintaining his body and his exercise and all these other things and his health, his nutrition. They didn't have that back then. So if we take all of those things and add it to the game back in the day, now it's an even playing field, in my opinion. So I think the conversation is useless because there's no baseline. There's no variable where you're saying, okay, this is the floor. Let's see everybody's ceiling from that point on. So I think that part of the conversation is useless. But one thing I do think is a healthy aspect to the conversation. Okay. Yeah, there's arguments. Yeah, there's back and forth amongst fans. Yeah, there's, a lot of negativity that surrounds those arguments. But you can see the competitive nature between, and not only the competitive nature, but you can see the fantasy matchups. I'm a wrestling fan. All right. We call it fantasy booking. All right. Eddie Guerrero versus, whoever's wrestling today, something like that, right? We call it fantasy booking, right? Mm-hmm. Who doesn't want to think about LeBron James versus Michael Jordan, what that would look like? Who doesn't want to think about Kareem versus Tim Duncan, Kareem versus Jokic, Hakeem versus Jokic? Who doesn't want to talk about SGA, what it would look like if he was guarded by a dude like Scottie Pippen, Magic Johnson in today's game versus a Steph Curry, where it's run and gun back and forth. You got one dude shooting threes, probably putting up 10 to 15 threes a night. You got another dude averaging 10 to 15 assists a night, but they're playing similar styles, just doing different things in the offense. Who doesn't want to see Isaiah Thomas go toe-to-toe with a guy like Brunson, go toe-to-toe with a dude like Kyrie Irving? Who doesn't want to see these things? I think that is a special part about sports. Football players, right? All right, we got to see Deion Sanders on Jerry Rice. Is Deion Sanders doing that against a Jamar Chase? What is Ed Reed? And this is me as a Ravens fan. Shout out to Sturl. He gonna see where I'm coming with this. Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Suggs, Nata. You got that guy. You got them boys out there, right? And you have a Lamar Jackson under center. What is that gonna look like for Baltimore in today's game? You know what I mean? That's a big. Let's get sidetracked real quick because this is we're having a basketball conversation, but I want to make something perfectly clear. All right, for anybody that might watch this, if you have any of those players I just named on the Baltimore Ravens right now, Kansas City never wins a ring.
Right, of course.
Never. All right, but it's just a part of sports, bro. To get in your feelings about, they trash in our era. All right, I'm LeBron James. I'm doing a clapback tour on Brian Windhorst, Stephen A. Smith, all these beat writers, I would have smacked MJ back in the day. That's the way I'm looking at it. RJ disappeared. He probably had a text message or something.
Yo.
Oh, there you go. But like I said, I mean, if I was LeBron and this response tour I'm going on, or a clapback tour, or whatever you want to call it, the past month or so, I'm saying, all right, you think you would have killed my Arab? I would have cooked Michael Jordan back in the day. I would have cooked Dr. J back in the day. Larry Bird, X-Nay on the Oopit stay. Barbecue chicken. He would have got cooked. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it a healthy back and forth. It don't have to be no hostility. It don't have to be, they don't respect us, none of that. Nah. Competitive nature can kick in. We can have a dialogue. Let's sit down. I mean, Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas had a sit-down conversation. They were rivals back in the day, right? Why don't we have generation-to-generation conversations between players who would have been rivals? I want to see Isaiah Thomas sit down with a Stephen Curry, with a Kyrie Irving. You know what I'm saying? Had that conversation about, like, I would have put foots in you. You know what I mean? Now, how you feel about that aspect of the conversation?
Like I said, it's all competitiveness, bro. Like I'm a competitive guy myself. Like that's why I'm not even the type of sports fan that I am. Like I'm the type of sports fan I'm kind of like Gilly. You would think that I'm playing in the game.
Yeah.
I'm not even playing because I'm just that competitive. So I'm
it's not the Chiefs, it's we, right?
Exactly. It's we.
Yeah. we got a game on Sunday.
We got a game.
Me and Lamar got a
what
game on Sunday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm not calling him Patrick Mahomes. I'm calling him Pat.
Yeah, like we know each other.
I'm calling him Pat.
First name basis.
So it's like I'm all for it. Like I'm all for it. Like I'm all for anything when it comes to competitive team versus team, player versus player, era versus era. I just, like I said, like I just, I want people to bring that part of just sports back. I want the competing aspect of sports to come back because it seemed like we kind of getting away from that, even where not even how we digest it as fans, but how the players approach the game. Like I want to bring the competitiveness back and everything, and how we talk about sports and how we play it.
I'm cautious about saying what I'm about to say because I hate this dialogue. I hate this conversation because it always turns into something ugly. But when I watch one of my favorite NBA series of all time, favorite series, all right, Western Conference Finals, 2009, LA Lakers, Denver Nuggets. Kobe was guarding Carmelo Anthony. Kobe's probably given up 60 pounds in that matchup. Didn't shy away from it, didn't back down. Guarded Carmelo Anthony. Tooth and nail. Melo guarded Kobe. Tooth and nail. The NBA Finals, there's a situation where Kobe got switched on to Dwight Howard. Didn't shy away from it. Boxed him out like his life depended on it. There's a certain player who wore a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey. I'm not going to say his name. But when there was another guy who wore 35 for a Golden State jersey, he called for a pick and roll. The person in the Cleveland Cavaliers jersey allowed a switch for person in the Cleveland Cavaliers jersey allowed a switch for J.R. Smith to take over and guard Kevin Durant. I don't like that. I don't like that. Here's why. Same thing with taking the last shot. I want to go out knowing that my best player had the ball in his hands, right? I want to lose this game or win this game knowing that my best player and one of the greatest defensive players of all time was the guy guarding the basketball. I want to go out knowing that, right? I think that's lost in today's game. You see it occasionally with Anthony Edwards when he was going against the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs. He guarded KD. He guarded Devin Booker. Stars aren't guarding stars no more. It was a podcast episode. I think Jeff Teague was talking about it. He was playing in Minnesota with the Timberwolves. It was Cat. It was Taj Gibson in the starting lineup. And they was going against, I want to say the Pelicans. I want to say it was the Pelicans. They was playing DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. Told them in the huddle, he said, hey, whichever one of you pick up the first foul, switch. And the other person will take over, all right? So it was Karl Anthony Towns. He was assigned to Boogie Cousins. Jump ball. Tip goes up. All right, the Pelicans get the ball. They threw it to Boogie because Cat was guarding him. Cat immediately fouled and called for the switch. He was scared to guard Boogie. All right? I don't like stuff like that. I don't like stuff like that. I don't like a situation where you're running from the opportunity to see who the baddest is. Who's that guy, right? How do you feel about that in terms of football? Are you going into a game thinking, okay, this is my receiver, this is their corner. Am I not gonna throw to him? Am I gonna not throw at am I not gonna throw to Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase because they got Pat Surtain on them? Am I just gonna go to my number two? Like, what is the mind frame in that when you look at it a football aspect?
I think football is just more team oriented. So I think like you can't really worry about matchups as much. I think the matchups matter because it's going to affect the adjustments that you have to make in your scheme that you come into the game with. So the matchups matter in that aspect, but as far as like the effect that a certain player would have on the game, it's just too many ways to
There's a
to
lot of
affect
different
the
variables
game.
involved.
Yeah, it's to really like just say that like I'm not gonna go to a player or I'm going to kind of remove him from my scheme because of a matchup. So I think that's what it comes down to in football. Football is just being like, it's 11 players versus 5 players.
Yeah. All right, man. Good episode today. Appreciate everybody that watched. Make sure y'all get this video a like, subscribe to the channel. That's Playbook in one stop. That's one more for the good guys.
Yes, sir. Go Michigan.
Don't do that. Hey, don't do that. Not on here. All right.
Big brother.
Don't
Go
do
Big
that.
Brother.
Don't do that.